Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. I'm Kenny Fogle, your host. Glad you could be with us tonight. Let me tell you something. One of the best interviews we can do is when we can do an interview with a program that's been successful and is really having an impact on our local area. And I'll tell you, this one here really makes me feel good. Is we got Barry McGuffin here. Barry wears several hats, but he deals a lot with the homeless. But one of the programs we want to talk about tonight is Room in the Inn.
Yes.
And you had a very successful first year last year, and the second year starts today.
It does. Starts tonight. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, it was a great year last year. We had, 7 host churches plus about 8 partners because we had different levels of partnership. We served 54 people in 5 months, 735 bed nights. So that is 54 people that did not have to sleep out in the cold last winter. And so we're super excited about that. We had over 200 volunteers working in the program, and it ran without a hitch.
Well, I'm hearing people from churches all around that know more about this than I do because, I was involved with it when you got it started and things of that nature. But they're coming to me telling me all this, and they're excited. And people are just absolutely tickled to death that they're able to help, to volunteer, to make a difference. And this is making a tremendous difference in the homeless situation in this area.
Oh, it really is, yeah. As the director for the Transitional Shelter, a lot of times I get a phone call and someone will say, I need a place to stay. And I have to say, I'm sorry, we're full. I hate that. But today, I get to say, show up at 5 o'clock and we will get you a place to sleep. So I'm so glad I've been looking forward to this all summer long. And so, if somebody needs shelter, they can call our hotline number, which is 502-343-7000. We do our intake from 5 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Now, right now, we're doing our intake at the Presbyterian Church on 2nd Street. We're hoping to get a new location, but that's not set in stone yet. And so if somebody wants to know where we're at, they can always call that number, 343-7000, and I'll tell them where to show up. And so we're doing intake tonight at 5 o'clock.
And that's every night?
Every night, every night, including Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Thanksgiving, New Year's Eve. It's a solid every night from November 1st through March 31st.
And they're going to get a place to sleep, something to eat, chance to take a shower sometime?
Sometimes, yes. Yep. So 2 nights out of the 7, we have shower facilities at the churches. Now we're working on an angle. You always got to try to go a little bit better. We're working an angle where we're trying to make showers more available. Now, we don't have that set in stone yet, so I can't give any details, but it looks really promising. So we're working on that right now. And, but at the least, it's a place to sleep and something to eat. And I say least because isn't there more you can do? Well,
that's quite a bit.
That's quite a bit. Yeah, that's a lot better. And that's what I always encourage people to say is, okay, well, don't think about what we can't do. Look at what we're doing. This is a person who did not know where they were going to sleep tonight. They did not know what they were going to eat tonight. And the church has met that need. And we were a part of that process. So it's a great program. And
before we get into the rest of it, I do want to mention, you mentioned the Transitional Shelter, which is Bethany Haven, which you also run. So homelessness. I mean, you've studied the issue. You studied it not only just in Nelson County, but you've studied it statewide. But homelessness is an issue that a lot of people don't see, they don't know about, but it's here.
It absolutely is. And it's not like you see on television, really. I mean, most of the time you think of, a hobo, scraggly whiskers, drink alcoholic, laying in the alleyway. But that is not who we see. What we see are people that might have lost a job, or maybe a single mom that's had a relationship breakup, and now she suddenly has nowhere to go. And that's really what we see over at Bethany Haven because it's for single women and families. And so Room in the Inn is actually the only shelter that we have for single men in Nelson County. And so that's another reason why I'm so glad that it's starting up tonight. Because last year, of those 54 people that we helped, 70% of them were men. And 25% of them identified as veterans. So one thing, though, we've been able to get connected with the HUD-VASH program. And so if the veteran, be it a man or a woman, if they have their DD-214, then we can get them connected to HUD-VASH, and they can get into some sort of housing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that, but for those that do, that's another avenue. And so that's, of course, beyond the scope of Room in the Inn, but we've got some connections made that we can kind of...
Hey, it's all tied in together. Homelessness is
really
homeless.
is.
People, when you're homeless, you really don't be real choosy, but and again, anything is better than what you've got. Because I got an acquaintance I know of very well that he has a job, full-time job, but he sleeps in his car every night because he just simply doesn't have the money to do much else. The time he pays a few medical bills and a few get some grocery bills, that's about all he's got left.
Right, absolutely. And in some cases, they might even have enough to pay rent, but they don't have enough to pay first and last month's rent plus a deposit on the utilities bill because it's expensive to get into a place. And so one of the things that we hope to do for somebody in that situation, we can give them a place where they can save some money so that they can pay those deposits and whatnot and get into their own place. Certainly at Bethany Haven, that's our goal, is for people to get into their own place. Room in the Inn, we're more concentrated on tonight. What are we doing tonight? Can we give somebody a warm bed to sleep in tonight and a hot meal tonight? And some friendly conversation.
And the thing about Bethany Haven, I know you do have some requirements. They have to be a resident for so long. Now, that is not necessarily the requirement of Room in the Inn.
No, it's really not. Now, last year, we saw out of the 54, 24 of them were what we call transients. And people are like, well, you know, are we attracting people? No, not really. Because the transients' average stay was just 2 days. So
they're just passing through.
They're just passing through. And so we're glad to be able to give them a place to, because otherwise, you know, if maybe they're traveling and they just, you know, they run out of gas and they need a chance to get some gas or something. Well, we can provide them shelter for the night.
Well, the beautiful thing about this is it's not costing anybody anything. I mean, it is to the churches, obviously, but it's the average person. It's not coming out of your tax dollar. It's not coming out of your donation to any particular charity.
It's very volunteer driven. It's super volunteer heavy. People are kindly donating their time and their efforts and their personalities. And, you know, there's lots of ways people can help because every night, you know, the church is setting up, so they could use people to set up cots. They can use people that might provide a meal item. Like somebody might say, oh, well, I can fix a pot of chili, or I could fix a casserole of green beans or something like that. And you know, bring everything together. And it's kind of like the old stone soup parable, right? Just everybody adds in a little bit, and then you got something worth something. And so everybody contributes a little bit. You know, somebody might say, well, I can drive a van, or I can stay overnight. Because all of those things are necessary. And we had over 200 volunteers last year that worked together in all kinds of different things. You know, some people drove, some people cooked, some people came and just watched movies with the guests. And there's lots of ways to play games. Last year, I know there's a fire pit at one of the churches one night. There's movie nights, game nights. And some nights, you know, our guests are tired and they just want to sleep. So they might go.
Now, they can attend church services if they want.
If they want.
There's nothing forcing them to do it.
No. And it's completely non-denominational, too, because we have the gamut of churches in Nelson County. In fact, it wouldn't have to be a church. If we had a civic group that had a location and a crew, they could host. Because that's what we need. We need a location and we need people to rent it.
So I'm not going to put you on the spot who all, because I don't know if you do this. If you can do it from memory, I'll let you do it. I didn't want to ask that question.
No, I really can't. I appreciate the churches so much that I do have that committed to memory. So on Sunday night, it's Bardstown Church of God. And they're our host. Then on Monday night, it's St. Thomas. On Tuesday night, it's St. Joseph. Wednesday night is Bardstown United Methodist. Thursday night is First Christian Church. Friday night is Bardstown Christian Fellowship. And then Saturday night, we have three churches that work together. We've got First Baptist, St. Monica, and the Episcopal Church of Ascension. They're all partnered together. So, and then there's other partners too. Like for instance, the Souls Harbor helps Bardstown Church of God, and Bardstown Christian Fellowship is really two churches, and the People's Church has helped out with that too. St. Gregory has helped. Mill Creek has donated backpacks. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
Because we got backpacks. Because, I've got guys coming in off the street and they're literally carrying everything they own in a garbage bag. And I'm like, oh, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And so Mill Creek, I just happened to run into someone at Walmart. And she said, well, what do you need? And I said, well, you know what? Our guys need backpacks. And they provided.
Yeah.
So now they've provided these backpacks full of really nice things like little, socks and toiletries and non-perishable food. And we can give them that backpack and say, here you go. And so now they've got something actually decent that they can carry their belongings in. So that's...
Now we're reaching volunteers, we're reaching churches. How do we reach the homeless to let them know?
Well, a couple of ways. We have put pamphlets into convenience stores. We've given our business card to the jail. We've given our cards to the police cruisers so that if they're out and about and they see somebody, they can give them a card. We do have a notice in the local newspaper, and so they can look in the newspaper and see our phone number. And so anybody that has a question, they can call that 343-7000 number. Yeah. And then I will answer, and I'll answer their questions. We've got signs up around town. The different churches have put their signs out. And then things like this.
Well, going into it last year, there was some criticism and some skepticism.
Yeah. You
ran into any problems that you couldn't handle?
No, we didn't. And I've been totally honest. Because we've got to be transparent. We vet our guests, and the way that we do that is we do a background check. So our local chaplains have the security clearance that they need to go through dispatch. And so we run a background check on our guests. And we had 8 people show up that had active warrants last year. And 6 of them went to jail because, basically, I was the best bounty hunter in Bardstown last winter. Because, we're called...
Well, they got a place to sleep.
They did. They got a place to sleep. Not where they thought they were going to sleep, but they did. And in fact, one of the guys that was arrested actually did his time and then came back to the program and stayed with us through the end of the program last year. So, and of course, we're also checking for sex offenders. So a sex offender that's on the list would not be able to stay. Because safety is so important to us. We've got to protect the guest and we've got to protect our hosts. So out of those, it was really 54 guests, 9 were turned away. So we had 63 people show up. 9 were not able to stay. I've got my little hotline phone, that same number, 343-7000, which I carry. I tell people, if you need help, don't hesitate to call. And if it's bad, call 911, then call me. But I got 1 call out of 152 nights last year. And it was basically a pastoral issue. One of the young women was having some boyfriend problems. So that had her all upset. So they called me in and I sat with her for an hour and just chatted with her and got her calmed down, and then she was fine. So 152 nights, 1 incident, and it was an upset.
I failed to mention you're also a minister. I mean, you wear several hats.
I do. Well, but this is part of my ministry. I'm passionate about demonstrating the love of Christ through our actions. In Matthew chapter 25, it says that Jesus says, in the last day, he'll come with his angels in his glory and he'll separate people. And to those on the right, he says, I was hungry and you fed me. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you took me in. I was ill, you took care of me. I was in prison, you visited me. And they'll say, and I'm going to paraphrase, when did we ever see you in that situation and help you? And he'll say, whenever you did this for the least of these, my brothers, you did it for me. And so that's what we're doing. We're welcoming the stranger, we're feeding the hungry, we're giving drink to the thirsty. We're doing that every night. And we're hoping that we don't have to stop at the end of March.
Well, that was my next question. I know you got host issues, you got money issues and things of that nature.
Right.
Hopefully they're getting better and maybe it's a year-round thing instead of just the winter.
That's what we're hoping, because there is a need, which is one reason why I was so glad that we started tonight, because I've had to turn away a lot of people this summer, which I hate. So what we're hoping is that we're not going to ask the churches that are hosting now to keep going, because it is some effort. There's an average of 60 hours of volunteer time that goes in every single day. Well, because you know, 2 people that stay overnight. Well, that's 26 hours right there. Yeah. And then you've got people that drive, people that cook, people that clean, people that set up. And it adds up. And then you have, you know, the fun bit too, where people come and just hang out, showing hospitality. Yeah. It all adds up. And we have our intake workers as well. Well, that's a good season, but you need time to rest. So what we're hoping is that this winter we'll be able to recruit 7 more hosts, which, you know, could be a church, could be a civic group with a building. There's lots of potential.
Right now, November through March is the time of the year when everyone looks at it.
So we're definitely covering the winter when it's cold. We would love to be able to cover the summer as well. So if we can get 7 more hosts, we'll start with them in the summer season on April 1st, and we'll go for 6 months, and we'll just have it year round.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah, so, I understand. Well, God bless you on your goal, because like I said, it's a worthy cause and taking care of the homeless, and the fact that it's not a solved issue, but you've really put a massive dent into it. I mean, and any community should be proud to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, Bardstown has really stepped up. Nelson County, really, because it's not just Bardstown, but Nelson County. Nelson County has really stepped up and proud of the work the church.
Well, you get churches have really been. Has it surprised you how much they've done, or were you expecting all this?
Well, you know, you kind of, you're not sure.
Yeah.
Because when we started, we're like, well, can we even find 7 hosts? And so the question was, all right, well, what if we can only find 4 hosts?
Yeah.
Will we? Is that enough? And they said, okay, we'll go if we have 4 hosts, because 4 nights is better than 0. But we got 7.
Yeah.
And this is a miracle. We got all 7 nights of the week covered, and nobody argued over what night of the week they were going to do. I mean, I can't even go.
I want Thursdays.
Right. I can't even go to lunch with 3 people and figure out the same restaurant to go to. But we've got 7 host churches to go cover all 7 nights a week,
wonderful.
And everybody got exactly what they wanted. That's amazing.
Well, like I said, it's a wonderful program, and you know, the people. It is cold outside. There's no question about it. People are hungry. People need a place to stay, and you're providing that. Right. And again, it's just one of those programs that I don't think you can say enough about, because it's been a fantastic program, and it's great volunteers, and it's solving an issue that really a human issue that again. Not mandated by Christ, but basically
it's pretty important.
Important.
Yeah. So, you know, and they really had 3 goals. I wanted to meet the needs, which we're doing. 54 people got 735 bed nights, and well, you double that for the number of meals, and then mostly, again, for lunches. That's a lot of help.
Yeah.
So we met those needs, but also we got churches involved. We covered the whole spectrum. And we got people involved in the churches. I had one of the ladies tell me that she said, you know, I've gotten to know people in my own church better for serving this way. Yeah. I thought, well, great. That's wonderful.
So fellowship. Well, I know there's other churches in other counties I've talked to, just in counties close to, that are already looking at what you're doing and hoping to expand that into other counties.
I would love to see all 120 counties in Kentucky do this. We're not the first. Because Lexington's been doing it, Bowling Green does it, E-Town's doing it. Actually, Radcliffe also is doing it now. We're doing it.
Shepherdsville had it going to some degree.
Yes, they do. Well, they do. Bullitt County goes year round.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
They don't have a shelter like we do in Bullitt County. I'd love to see all 120 counties have something though.
Well, it's wonderful. So, like I said, you know, it's cold in the winter, and people need a place to stay, and it solves a lot of problems. Not all that, crime issues, and it's just simply the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Barry, I do appreciate you being here. God bless you for what you're doing and all the volunteers. Again, you say 200 and some volunteers out there. You know, that's quite a undertaking, and again, there's just simply not the words to say how important this is, and we're just tickled to death you're all doing it, and just keep it up.
Yeah, well, we're certainly going to try, so glad to do it.
Thank you for being here today, and thank you for what you're doing. Keep it up, and again, Room in the Inn starting November through March, and here in Nelson County, and that number one more time?
It's area code 502-343 7000.
343-7000. Write that down. If you know of any homeless person, or if you happen to be homeless yourself, give them a call. And unless you got some very compelling reason, they're not going to turn anybody away, and you got a place to stay for the night, something to eat, and some people to talk to. So it's a great program, and we really hope that people take advantage of it, because it is here, and you're doing great work, Christ's work. So
Yes.
Room in the Inn here in Nelson County. Again, appreciate Barry McGuffin, who's been helping run that as well, and overseeing things, and we appreciate all the volunteers as well. So stick around, a lot more to come here on Community Focus. We'll be back with more news and information right on your hometown television station, Channel 6 TV.